Welcome to EMBR.ACE Education, the space where we explore well-being, creativity, and change in the world of learning. I am Effie Kyrikakis, and today marks the third week in our December series. Now, before we dive in, I'd like to give you a quick word about what's starting from this month. It marks the beginning of the new season, a festive season for EMBR.ACE Education Podcast, because from now on, EMBR.ACE Education will unfold in monthly mini-series with only one guest each month. I know you're wondering why, so let me explain. This podcast, like every other adventure in life, is a learning process for us. The first season of 10 episodes taught us a lot. For me, it was a lesson in moderation also. I love our podcast. I love the excitement of ideation, the preparation, the connection with our guests, and you all, of course, and the insights generated in each discussion. And I also came to realize that we simply could not maintain the volume of work involved in a weekly series of interviews. We also came to realize that it is you, our listeners and viewers, that are an essential part of the journey. Without you, this whole adventure feels somehow hollow. That's why from now on, EMBR.ACE Education will unfold monthly in a mini-series, 4 episodes that let us slow down and go deeper into the idea. Now, you may be wondering why these 4 episodes and what they will be like. Well, how about a quick tour? In week 1, a guest conversation with a real-world story that sparks our theme. In week 2, embracing the community. This is where you take center stage, your questions, your stories, your insights. In week 3, NeuroLearningPower Reflections. Now, this is my space to connect the month's ideas with research, experience, and inner growth. In week 4, Embrace Play. This is the joyful close to our 4-week mini-series. We will celebrate learning. We will launch a wellbeing challenge for the next month. We will play. Our intention, then, you can see, is a rhythm that keeps each theme alive. Not just a collection of interviews, but a living conversation. And the most important part, it gives you a voice in the conversation, because education only grows when we co-create it. Now, this month's theme is, if you remember, dedication, creativity, and wonder, a life in the English language world. And in week 1, I spoke with Anastasia Spiropoulou. Her lifelong dedication reminded to all of us that curiosity keeps teaching alive. Anastasia spoke of joy. She spoke of joy of discovering, of learning, and the power and the relationships that she said sustain us through decades of change. Today, in the reflection, in the NeuroLearningPower Reflection, I want to take the conversation inward and ask, how can we grow older and still grow newer? How can experience be our creative engine instead of a weight? How do we keep our sense of wonder when the world around us moves so fast? And I want to share something with you here. I have wanted to share these questions since Ageism knocked on my door. It was a feedback comment last year. And it was a shock. But also, it was a gift because it alerted me and it made me reconsider my business English methodology. It made me actually create even more engaging lessons this year. So let's start with something that many of us feel, but we rarely admit, that quiet fear of becoming too old for our own profession. Education is a space that praises innovation, freshness. We use words like cutting edge, emerging, next generation, but sometimes those words hide a shadow message, that age equals decline. Now, that message is what sociologists call a social schema, a shared story about how the world works. Our society's schema of age is often framed as withdrawal, rigidity, irrelevance. We see it in media images, in hiring language, in how people talk about technology and keeping up. Over time, we internalize that story. We start to think that to be older is to be less creative, less connected, less needed, and that's internalized ageism. But the truth is, this schema isn't scientific, it's social. It doesn't describe reality, it creates fear. And neuroscience paints a very different picture. As we gain experience, our brains develop richer networks of connection. We recognize patterns more quickly. We empathize more deeply. We can integrate knowledge more creatively. The mature brain is not a slower machine. It's a more interconnected ecosystem. So when society says age equals decline, education can answer age equals depth. But what can we do? Well, we can rewrite the schema by writing a different story. A story where experience brings clarity, imagination, balance. Our beliefs are self-fulfilling. If we believe that age will make us redundant, we'll find plenty of examples out there. But also the world is full of mature people who keep creating wonders. Think of Morgan Freeman, Clint Eastwood, Oprah Winfrey, Anastasia, and our own Agnes Mariakaki, and myself. Relevance is about staying curious about people, about students, colleagues, communities. Every time we ask, what matters to you right now, we stay alive in our practice. And I remember a moment when I first discussed ChatGPT with Dimitris Primalis, a dear friend who is also an expert in technology, innovation, and education. And at first, we both were in awe. We felt that there was something, that this was obviously completely new, but it was potentially dangerous as well. But watching students use different AI tools to create their own projects, to flourish, reminded me why I fell in love with teaching. For those moments of authentic voice, of connection. Curiosity is a renewable energy. It keeps the mind plastic and the heart open. As we grow in experience, our roles shift. We move from center stage to center support. Mentors, coaches, guides. We can be anything we choose to be. Mentorship is how we transform expertise into purpose. It's where wisdom meets service. And it's the story of NeuroLearningPower. Hundreds and thousands of educators being supported to become the best they can. Psychologists tell us that purpose and connection are key to well-being as we age. So when we share our learning with others, we're not just helping them grow, we're sustaining our own vitality. Perhaps the question isn't, how do I stay relevant? The question can be, how do I stay in relationship with my curiosity, my learners, and the world that's still becoming and will always be becoming? Because relevance doesn't diminish with age, it deepens with connection. As we close today's reflection, take a moment to notice the stories that you've absorbed about age and worth. Which ones still whisper in your mind? And what new story could you tell instead? One where experience is your creative superpower. Next week, join me for our Embrace Play episode, the first episode, such episode in our podcast, and our final one for 2025. We'll celebrate our voices, your voices, and set a challenge for the next year. A challenge to rewrite our schemas of age and renewal. Until then, stay well, stay curious, stay connected, and keep embracing and chasing the wonder that experience makes possible.